the question is, who has the responsibility for new converts of Islam going and joining ISIS? And he says that he heard in a speech that the Prophet ﷺ described ISIS in the past, and they are as the Prophet ﷺ has described them. Obviously, he's talking about the Khawarij.
Okay. This is a very good question. Who is responsible for so-called radicalizing converts? Yeah, this is a very good question. Number of things, and media has to report this. First of all, many of the converts are coming from a street background, gangsters background. So they like this culture of killing, combating the others, fighting others, etc. And as I always say, the music culture, which is a violent culture, music is promoting violence, or many musical songs, promote violence. So when the person is coming from that culture to Islam, he would like something in Islam that fits his nature, his previous culture. And he doesn't find that peaceful Islam will fit into this. So he will look for any kind of violence within Islam or attribute it to Islam, and he would like to attribute himself to that. This is one element. It is not the only element. The second element, as I said, when young people feel that they are ostracized, they are not welcomed by their countries, by their people, by the media, by their cultures around them, by the society, then they will look for belonging. And ISIS is very active. The ISIS people are active on social media, and they are welcoming those young people to them. They say to them, forget about the kuffar country that they are fighting you and they are belittling, humiliating you. Come to us. You will see izzah. You will see might and power and dignity. We will give you the real belonging. So obviously, those young people will just be brainwashed and jump into ISIS. That's why, if we really want to provide a holistic solution for this radicalization, then we need to solve a number of problems. We need to tackle the educational system that teaches people to solve their problems there through violence. We need to tackle the gangsters culture. We need to tackle the violent music that many young people are listening to it. Moreover, we need to let the Muslim young people feel the real belonging in their Western European countries. They need to have that belonging. We need to talk to media, and we need to tell media has to play a major role in letting young Muslims feel the real belonging and that they are not targeted every time. So it is a comprehensive solution. Unfortunately, I'll tell you about my country, Britain. Britain now, they said that if you are an Orthodox Muslim following certain the original principles of Islam, the Orthodox principles of Islam, you are an extremist. You are an extremist. And if you are an extremist, then according to the conveyor belt theory, you will become what? You will become radicalized, and then you will become terrorist. And I have said to them that Islam has been in England for 70 plus years. And Muslims, they were practicing this Orthodox Islam. They used to believe in the Orthodox Islam 70 years ago. Since that time, and they have not been radicalized, as you say. They have not turned to become terrorists. It is only when the foreign policy became so hostile against Muslim countries, and not only the foreign policy, the domestic policy as well became so hostile against Muslims, and in particular practicing Muslims or Orthodox Muslims, then Muslims started to take their frustration, yes, in these illegal ways, and they find that this particular so-called Islamic State is the only country that welcomes them against their countries that are being hostile against them. I hope that this point is reported by media, because it is a huge responsibility for you if Western media and Western governments are sincere in solving the problem of radicalization and terrorism within Western countries.
Sisters, question for you.
He has a comment on this.
Oh, you had a comment?
Sorry.
Recently, 3 Norwegian converts from Verdalen are reported missing in Syria because they joined ISIS. What do you think it is about Norwegian society that make them do this?
Yeah, I agree. This is a very good point. First of all, we have to give a space. The elements that I have mentioned about the gang culture, yeah, the violent music, the violent films that they are watching. Look, most of the games, brothers, what are the most played games? Computer games.
Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty.
Huh?
Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty.
All of them are violent.
Yeah.
All of them are about killing. Is that true or not?
No.
Yes, there are many studies that confirm that this culture promotes violence among young people. So those are elements that help those people to go through that route. Plus the issue of belonging, when they feel that they don't belong to this country. But also, I have to say that scholars and the speakers, Muslim speakers, have to contribute towards guiding young people not to go through the wrong paths. Yes, it is a responsibility. I'm not denying this. I'm not denying that there is a religious factor behind this. But the religious factor has been there for 60, 70 years. It is only now that this religious factor became a real problem. Why? Because the underlying factors are the real motivating factors behind this so-called radicalization. And now, unfortunately, many Western countries, yes, unfortunately, I'll give you the sisters this, yes, the chance. Many Western countries are trying to ban speakers because they are what? They are extremists. Those extremist speakers, I have to say that those extremists, so-called extremist speakers, are the most qualified people to stop young people from joining ISIS, because they know the language of the young people. The young people have a trust in those so-called extremist speakers more than they have a trust in the so-called moderate speakers. I'm asking the young people, whom do you trust more? The so-called moderate scholars and speakers, or the so-called extremist speakers? Whom do you trust more in speaking about things related to ISIS or things related to Islam? I'm asking you. Is the question clear?
Not real extremist speakers, but speakers who are following normal Sunni Islam,
Yes,
who are
and
labeled
I
as
said
extremists.
I said the so-called extremist
Yes, but
speakers.
just in case they didn't understand.
Yeah, the speakers that have been labeled by
Yes.
many Western governments as what? As extremists. If the person believes in Islam in totality, if the person believes in the principle of Ummah, if the person believes in the principle of Caliphate now, if the person believes in Hudud, even not in the Western world, he is labeled as extremist. If the person is opposing homosexuality, he says that Islam is considers homosexuality as a sin, as a major sin, then this speaker is classified as an extremist speaker and he has to be banned. What has these things to do with terrorism? In fact, young people will trust this speaker because he speaks the Orthodox Islam. They trust him more than they trust the people who are watering down Islam.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.
Tayyib,
I think
yeah.
we need to give the sisters a
go
chance.
ahead,
There's only
go ahead.
3 minutes left.
Yes.